Welcome to this week's edition of Referral Exchange Networking's Business Success Fertilizer Application. We know that it isn't always easy to compete with companies that are bigger than you and have greater resources. However, one advantage you can have is that you can be smarter than they are. No one can tell you how much you can learn and how much of an expert and an asset you can be. That's why education is critical for small businesses. And that's why we at Referral Exchange strive to make you just a little smarter every week. So let's get right to it. Few things are more disorienting than a whiteout. Perspective, orientation, and navigation are all but impossible. Rick Chafee, world-class alpine skier, racer, and member of the 68 and 72 Olympic ski teams, knew he was in trouble. Conditions had deteriorated quickly, and he found himself in whiteout conditions. He couldn't seem to slow down as the white world around him continued to swirl and howl in a haze of blinding snow. Unsure of where he was and what hazards could be lurking nearby, he decided the best course of action would be to throw himself to the ground, absorb the hit, and tumble to a stop, hopefully unscathed. Imagine his surprise when he hit the ground to discover he wasn't even moving. In the disorienting whiteout conditions, where his senses were being overwhelmed and his mind tuned into survival mode, he'd become disconnected to the real world. He'd become ungrounded. All he had to do was look to his feet to discover that he wasn't moving. However, when you're in the middle of the blizzard, it's too easy to become lost, to lose your perspective as to where you are and what you should be doing. When your adrenaline is pumping and your stress levels rise, your perspective is further eroded and your decision-making processes become more impaired. Is it any wonder that under these conditions, you lose sight of reality? Now, Rick Chafee, after retiring from competitive skiing, had gone home to his native Vermont, and he'd become an economics professor at Johnson State College. Surrounded by several world-class skiing venues, it's no surprise he landed there. Professor Chafee told us that story when I took his economics class. I thought about it the other day when I was reading an article on perspective and decision-making. Although he simply told us that story to entertain us before class, the parallels between what he experienced and our modern dilemma of information overload and trying to keep up with the pace of change can't be missed. It's a scientific fact that speed alters perception. The faster the world seems to move, the quicker things come at us, and the harder it is to maintain normal perspective. This is when we need to look to our feet. For lack of a better term, we need to reground ourselves. When we find ourselves in a business whiteout, and we're confused and unsure as to our next step, we need to stop and reset. The best way to do this is from the ground up. We need to ask ourselves the following questions. First, what am I doing right now? Second, why am I doing it? What part of which bigger project does it impact? Third, what does this bigger project have to do with the overall direction and success of my business? And finally, what is my business all about? And is this still in line with my vision? Now, I understand that these are simple questions, but answering them will enable you to reground yourself and step out of the blizzard into the sunlight, to regain your perspective. One of the frequently cited mantras of the day is mindfulness. I've had difficulty understanding this until I realized that it simply means to ground yourself in the now. Look beyond the distractions, the sound, and the fury, and realize that your original path is still there. You simply must step back into the footprints that you've already laid down. Theodore Roosevelt, 26th President of the United States, said, "Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground." Well, that's it for this week. I hope you got something out of it. If you'd like to talk about anything you just heard, or you'd like to know how you can grow your business by joining a Referral Exchange networking chapter, or even how to start your own chapter, reach out to me at raustin@referralexchangenetworking.com. That's exchange with an X. And if you'd like to be notified Whenever we post another educational video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of this video. All right, folks, well, that's it for this week. I hope you got something out of it, and I'd like to hear from you if you have any questions. We'll see you next week. Bye.